We've had a really challenging couple years as parents, as step parent, particularly hard.
Bonus mom.
I'm a bonus
There
mom.
you go.
We can't be authentic on this podcast and humanize if we don't talk about the struggles that we continue to experience as a blended family. Welcome back to Humanize Your Brand. Today, we are going to talk about something near and dear to our hearts: parenting and step parenting and blended family and leading business while you're a parent.
And I'm not laughing because of parenting being near and dear our hearts. It's just something we deal with on a regular basis.
Do we
and
deal with it, or
we flow with it? We're in it.
enjoy the journey? Kind of.
If you're a parent, you know.
We've had a really challenging couple years as parents, as step parent, particularly hard.
Bonus mom.
I'm a bonus
There
mom
you go.
and a mom. But you know what? When you're a mom, you're a mom, and some people are birth or not.
Yeah.
Like when you play this role of raising a human, it is a lot. It's a lot. It's a different kind of person. And so there's a couple things that I feel like we're holding on our heart that are just like, we can't be authentic on this podcast and humanize if we don't talk about the struggles that we continue to experience as a blended family.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Where do you want to start?
there's so many ways to be able to start of what we've gone through and what we continue to go through. And I always want everyone to take, before we go into it, right? Like our struggle, our life, is ours, right? Like, so we're not comparing what we've gone through, we're just sharing, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that I want everyone to take into consideration as you listen to today's episode. We're sharing a piece of our life that we usually don't share, but we think it's important because I know there's other people out there that feel alone, feel lost, feel like they're fighting the good fight by themselves, and you're not, right? We see you, we are you. And I think today's episode will share that. So when you talk about where to start, we could start on, you guys heard one of our past episodes, right? Where Rachel and I met the next day. She's like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me you had kids.
Yeah, certainly being a blended family. So I'm a stepmother, became a stepmother at 30, which not many women at 30 years old are stepmothers. None of my friends till this day, my closest friends, are step parents. I take that back, Patty, who's here, but it's very far and few between because it's really this unspoken God work, frankly. Yeah. Because when you birth a child, if you have the privilege of birthing a child, there's this
I can speak from both sides.
I could speak from both sides. There's this biological pull that it's just nature. Yeah. It's nature, it's biological. There's something unexplainable. When you choose children to be a part of your life, you have to create that pull and that connection. And it's very challenging because there's difficult dynamics. And we have a particularly difficult dynamic. When I met Jaden and Skylar, they were about, what were they, 6 and 4 or so? Well, that's like when I first met them. And we moved in together in 2017. They were 8 and 6 about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she was like when we got married in 2018. Am I doing that math right?
You're doing amazing.
Yeah. Well, in our dynamic, Josh and co-parenting with his former is very challenging, to say the least.
Some people have a way to be able to do it. Some people don't. We do the best we can.
We do the best that we can. So we have that dynamic. We work together now, right? Which we didn't at first. And then Jaden has severe ADHD, which he was diagnosed with and medicated starting in elementary school.
Yes.
And so very vibrant personality, in, out, black, white, up, down, like that sort of. There's a lot of ways.
My daughter Skylar works with
dyslexia. Yeah. And that's how the journey has started with me being part, at least, of their lives. Yes. So that in and of itself, raising two kids, one with severe dyslexia that was in elementary school, and then one with severe ADHD neurodivergency. Both very amazing, smart,
And then
creative kids.
Rachel gets to deal with both those inside of me since I have different aspects of both of those.
Yes, it's been really interesting to see where pieces of them come through
Yeah.
in your kid, but they're what we've certainly learned is our kids have chosen us. In whatever soul contract I believe that I was here on this planet, Jaden and Skylar were meant to be in my life and I was meant to be in their life. This was the plan that the universe, God, whatever your belief is, I let you believe it. This is my belief. This is my faith. This is my way of coping as well through very difficult challenges. So we have neurodivergency, severe ADHD, and dyslexia. And why don't you talk a little bit about what we've been experiencing?
Look, a lot of us go through life, and as we get older, we realize there was traumas that we had not dealt with earlier on in life. And, we have to be able to figure out how to be able to unpack that later on in life. And even though it's been difficult, my kids have been unpacking their trauma in their teens and preteens. And that's an interesting path as parents to be able to go through and to be able to hold space for them as they go through that and be able to provide the care, the nurturing, the just everything as they kind of go through that. I mean, I look at it, it's been one of the most difficult 2 years that we've gone through, but at the same time, I feel very blessed that the kids are able to be able to try to acknowledge and unwind and untangle that at a young age rather than having it just to bury deep inside of them for so many years as a lot of adults in this world have done. And I think that's a lot of it happens to be because of the people that you and I try to show up for our kids. And I mean, look, there's a lot of people in this world that deal with really heavy things. And yeah, I'm not saying ours is more or less than anyone else's, but we have gone through a lot and it's really helped us really gain a different perspective, not only as humans, as husband and wife, but as parents as well. And I think that's really important for everyone to share because the more and more that I share about what I've gone through, what my kids have gone through, it's amazing how many people come back to me and go, man, I went through that as well.
Yeah.
Or I went through that 30 years ago with my kids. And this is what this episode's really about is if we share our story, maybe we might give permission to you to be able to share yours. And I think sometimes in this world that we need that permission from others to be able to be honest, to be raw, to be true. And that's what I really hope from today is going to be able to happen.
As parents.
Yeah.
I mean, uniquely as parents, because we could do also, we're not going to talk about. I think what's really interesting about parenting, right, is yes, each of us has experienced small T or big T trauma. Hopefully, not everyone's experiencing big T trauma, abuse. I mean, there's a lot of, disaster, terrorism. These things would be considered, big T traumas. But all of us have experienced moments where something in us, we started to feel less than. And when you become a parent, for me, there were things growing up that I've worked through with my therapist, behaviors as a Jewish family. There's been, raising of voices, loud intensity behaviors, things that have affected the way I've wanted to come up or come off or don't come off. And those are things I've worked through in therapy. And my God, Josh, if a modern day parent in 2025, if you're not figuring out your own, these kids got no hope really, because what I've learned is if I don't figure out my just put that on the kid. And that's unfortunately what's happened with Skylar and Jaden.
It happens a lot with a lot of families, not just ours, but I mean,
everybody.
I mean, we carried on our own parents.
Our ancestral parent learned behavior. And I always think to myself, Josh, I look at Ava. Ava's almost 2 in this as of this, release. She'll be probably 2 by then.
You're not supposed to give ages or times or dates on podcasts. No.
And she's perfect. And I don't mean perfect in the sense of look, she's perfect. She says, I love you. She says hi and bye to everybody.
Well, she hasn't been beaten down.
Hasn't been beaten down. And every single child is born in this angelic fashion. So all the hatred is because we have instilled that.
Yeah.
And today it's harder and harder so now Jaden and Skylar are 16 and 13. Over the last 2 years, we have experienced an eating disorder. His is specifically anorexia. Severe anxiety, depression, PTSD, as well as self-harming and suicidal ideation. That's the real deal. As well as I've had my own anxiety and depression, and I've had my own psychiatrist. And it's really hard as a parent to figure out how to be supportive to your child because you're kind of still figuring it out yourself too.
I don't think anyone knows exactly what to do or how to show up. And I think that's the weight, right? When you see your kids suffer, you take it on as your own. I mean, that's your suffering. I mean, because you never want your kids to be without. Well, at least we don't, right?
I don't. Yeah, we can speak.
I mean, we all speak from our perspective. Then, you look at it like you failed your. I look at it as you failed my children, right? Because I did not show up as a dad as I should have been, and
that's been the hardest part for you as life struggled. I mean, Josh forgiving himself, just feeling so guilty and ashamed for the things that have happened because as if it was all his fault because you, as a parent, yes, we are responsible.
You never want to put that on your kids either. I think that's the difference too, right? Because we come from different backgrounds, different generations. There's, and we might be stepping on toes on this, but my parents, they don't tell me half the things of what's going on in their life.
Yeah.
Right. I'll be like, my mom will be like, oh, sorry, yesterday I was in surgery all day, for major whatever. And I'm like, what? Well, we didn't want to burden you with that. And then your parents, everything that's going on.
Yeah. I have the other side where my parents and I are super close, hyper close. I talk to my mom multiple times a day.
Oh yeah, when her phone rings, I know
it's my mom.
And we love you, Marilyn.
So it's very different. And then we become parents, and I don't know, just realize
how much do you do of each? Because both are.
And it's just we don't have anything figured out.
And that's the thing. I don't think anyone does. And I think we go through this life going, well, I should have known, or you don't. It's always something new, and especially in today's world. I grew up in a world where my parents just let me run around. They tell stories about when I was a kid. They're like, the neighbors would bring me home because I was running around butt ass naked, and they're like, what the hell, And now, it's crazy. We're tracking our kids with their phones where they're at all times, trying to be able to understand because we have more information as parents of what truly transpires in this world comparatively to what it used to be.
Yeah.
And how much do you allow your kids to understand the world by protecting them, but also if you shield them from everything, are they truly learning what this world really is and how to be able to survive or thrive, I should say, in it? And I think that's always a question, right?
What do you think we've done really well? And
I thought you were going to ask me what we did wrong.
No. Yeah. What do you think if you were to say, if as we reflect, and we're still in it, literally still in it, right? We're not through in happy days of a lot of pieces of this puzzle. What do you think has been one of our biggest mistakes and one of our biggest, the best things we've done? I could say the best thing we've done.
Best thing we've done was bring Rachel in our lives. And because I couldn't do it without her. That's what she was looking for.
Well, that is true.
She knows it. Again, I tell everyone. Again, I would, with everything I've gone through post-divorce, through this world, resetting in business, resetting in life, I did it. I was able to do it because of my partnership with Rachel. Be able to support my kids in the way, be able to have them have a positive female figure in their life, right? That's important, I think, in everyone's life, to be able to have a male role model and a female role model for them to be able to go in. I'm sure there's a lot of other amazing things that have happened. If I look at what's wrong,
Well, the piece I so
Yeah.
thank you for noting me. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but it is, really wonderful that they have a positive step parent in their life that's always respected their relationship with their parents. I've always
That can
really,
also be objective at the same time because you're in the
oh yeah, yeah,
family and
yeah, but I'm able
separate at
to
the same.
separate, yeah. But what I was gonna say is one thing that's so important for Josh and I is their mental health.
Yeah.
And to a point where, this is losing business, not having as much money this year because we have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on therapists, nutritionists, inpatient treatment, hospital. I mean, it's crazy, not just for them, but Josh has started ketamine treatment, which we could talk about in another episode. I also have a psychiatrist and therapist. So like our investments in mental health, at least for me.
But wait, you're ruining the entire, vibe of what social media, like we live a perfect life. I don't think we've ever shared that
No,
on social
no.
media. The perfect life. I think that's the BS that affects so many people, especially mental health wise with the kids, is they see these online worlds of, perfection, riches, and then they don't see what's behind the camera.
Yeah. Well, we certainly are investing a lot in staying semi sane through the insanity. So, and if you're listening, and here's the thing, we are privileged that we can figure out resourcing and get support for our kids.
Yeah.
I really fear for the families and the individuals because mental health is very, very challenging right now. Finding a therapist that could be of not only available, forget covered with insurance, is just nearly impossible. Funding is being pulled in schools for mental health, anyways. But whatever modality you can do to support your kid, that has been so important. What do you think has been the thing that we're working on? Let's say not fail or anything, but like that has been the thing that we're working on the most as a parent through this really difficult challenge.
I think it's always, it's interesting how we kind of bring this back. And we've talked about this in previous episodes as well. It's perspective. Because sometimes, as you said, the parents, how we feel falls on our kids. And
Mm,
I think sometimes, we'll say certain things that we think are helping to support the kids in a positive fashion, but we didn't ask them what they needed all the time. And as parents, as human beings, we try to support and help other people based on what we believe they need,
yeah.
but we don't all, and again, that's something that we continue to work on, is to really understand not what we believe what they need, but actually to hear them from what they believe they need.
So
And then be able to
asking
decide.
how
Because I think that's
sometimes
important.
it's like, well, why? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's going on? And we're pressing because we're worried, but it's not really giving
I mean, I'm a protector. I mean,
them
that's
the
why I play.
space.
So I want to protect my kids. I want to,
Yeah.
and sometimes I overstep.
Yeah. Overstepping for sure. I know I do. I mean, I've gotten way angrier and frustrated than I ever would like to be. So, like, the power of the pause, my God, working on that every single day. Or if the second I feel triggered, which for me, that's tightness in the throat, in the chest, and I'm feeling, that feeling the wave to walk away or to say nothing, that is something I'm really learning. And it's extra difficult for me as the step parent with your kids. It's something I'm working on a lot.
And I think that actually plays into it, Rachel, because I mean, like when we look at it, it's the react versus respond. And I forget who said that because I mean, like I can't.
A lot of people.
I'm not gonna say that
Well,
always. Like
No,
I mean, like I
it's
learned
like
this
spiritual.
right because most of us react to a situation rather than taking time to respond to a situation. And that's the biggest thing I want to make. Look, I've reacted multiple times.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I always show my kids is how do you actually repair afterwards, and being able to have this conversation with them and being able to acknowledge, because like I didn't grow up in a house where it was acknowledged if a parent did something wrong. I mean, my parents loved me to death and would do anything for me, but it wasn't this.
There was a repairman.
There wasn't repairment. And so like that's one of the biggest things that we try and show our kids is not only how do we show up, but how do we show up after we've made a mistake or yeah. I hate to use the word mistake.
No, sometimes it's a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I was pressing on Sky yesterday. I mean, she's just, she's 13 in eighth grade, and she's in the phone, in the texting and getting in the car, and like you're trying to have a conversation, and like, what,
Well, I'm not saying that, Skylar, because I know you
this,
go back and research all our videos. So
I, she was in it, disengaged. And I'm just like, and I know she's getting frustrated. She doesn't want to talk about things. And I'm like, girl, get out of your phone. I'm getting frustrated. Like, what's going on? Right. And I'm feeling all the heat, and then I just realized, like, stop, stop. And I was like silent most of the car ride. And at the end, I just went to her and I said, hey, I just care about you a lot. I love you and I want to make sure you're okay. We've been through a lot and I want to keep us going on this positive path. Like, that wasn't the perfect repairment, but it just was at least normally Rachel a couple years ago wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have just kind of reset in that moment. I feel like that's been a really challenging piece as a parent. And quite frankly, the hardest relationships are as parent child to me. And then if you could do decent there, it's like taking it to business feels so much easier.
I mean, I think that in today's world now, I mean, look, knowledge is everywhere. I mean, these kids have more access to knowledge than we have ever had.
So much
growing up.
The words that they use.
So, like, we always talk about, do what I say, not what I do. I call BS on that because the knowledge that you can impart to your kids, yes, maybe life knowledge on what you experienced, but they're going to look at what you do more than anything. So, that's where I think that everyone has to start more so now than ever is how do you show up for your kids, even when they're not looking? Because as a parent, guess what? I've been getting interviewed for over a decade on different podcasts and things of that nature and write-ups. And my daughter now comes back to me and says, hey, what happened here? What's going on here? And you know what, though? I am very proud on how I showed up on those podcasts, how I showed up on social media, because everything is documented these days. And I don't think we're paying attention enough that our kids can find that. So how are you showing up, right? Like, and I think that's important for Rachel.
By example. And I mean, that's what Humanize is about. Humanizing your brand is not just about how you show up on LinkedIn or YouTube or wherever. It's this moment right here with my child while they're in breakdown. How are you going to show up? And to that point, if you remember, Sky has a YouTube page, and she was posting, she got a couple million views on it. Like,
man, she's got like 20 plus million followers on, not 20,
at like 12 years old.
Yeah.
And some stuff she started to post was it felt not for her age. And we had to have a conversation and say, this will be online forever. Even if you delete it or whatever, once it's out there, and you really have to think about, do you want the university that you apply to, the job that you get? How do you want to show up? And I think those conversations are really, really important for parents today. And Josh and I are trying to lead by example. And we're trying to actually create this movement with Humanize where we can be honest.
Yeah. Well, and
truthful, but also with integrity and with love and a value first driven mindset.
Rachel, it reminds me, we've had so many different conversations because, you come from the corporate world. And I'll, me as an entrepreneur, like, oh, show up, whatever. You can say anything you want. You're like, oh, you can't tell someone that works at a company to do that because they have social media policies and they can't. And that kind of resonates as a parent with your kids too, because we sit here and we're like, be you, be 100% you, show up. But then, like you just said, that we have to be able to watch what Skylar's sharing on YouTube. And because she's showing up and she's being her and she's being honest. And then, but we were like, oh, well, you do this, but I can't do that. So I don't know. I mean, it just kind of pulls me back as we're sitting here thinking about that. And like, yes, I think it's a yes and.
Yes and one of the things remember a couple of years ago, and I still do this presentation, free speech in the digital age.
Yeah.
And one of the things about branding, and I will never tell any person, say whatever you want, do whatever you want, because whatever you put out there will either accelerate or completely ruin you.
Well, I had the same thing with Jaden. I had the same conversation with Jaden in the car this morning because I was like, look, know your audience. right? You need to be able to use tact based on the people that you're communicating with.
Yes, exactly. And so that applies to everything.
Yeah, even when I'm like, oh yeah, do it. You still have to be able to know your audience.
Know your audience, and yes, like
your audience is your children
and
all the time. More,
yeah,
even when you don't think they're listening, they are.
Yeah, and there's nothing here that I'm saying that I would be upset about them hearing. And so, a lot more on parenting, but we wanted to give you, especially as we're building this humanized movement and getting people into our world, start to hear about the things we've experienced. And if you are experiencing any of this with your children, we'd love to hear from you. Please, we'd love to hear your perspective, maybe things that you've done that really have supported your children. We send you so much love and grace and just like a big warm heart if you're a parent or step parent or whatever kind of person in somebody's young life. It's such an important role. And with that, please, if you like this, share it with another parent, share it with somebody speaking about parenting. Maybe they work with their spouse, whatever, and they're parenting. Please like it, please share it, please subscribe.
In the long run, you're not alone. And together we can, I've tried to change this world on my own. I damn near killed myself doing it. The only way we can actually truly change this world, not only for ourselves, but for our children and future generations, is to be able to do this together.
Well, thank you so much. We'll see you back next episode.
Bye, all. If today's episode sparks something in you, you don't have to keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's building something with heart. And hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.
If you're ready to humanize your brand now and show up with soul, grab our free guide, 3 Hidden Signals, at standoutauthority.com/3, the number 3, hidden signals. We'll see you soon.